Aloha, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Fit to Fat to Fit Experience podcast. I'm your host, Drew Manning.
And I'm your co-host, Lynn Manning.
It's a pleasure to be here with you guys today. Today we have an awesome episode with Jasmine Schmalhaus, and I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but she is awesome. She's also known as It's Jazzy Things or Jazzy Things on social media. But today's going to be an awesome episode. For those of you who are new to the podcast, you might not know me as the Fit to Fat to Fit guy, where basically a few years ago I did a Fit to Fat to Fit experiment where I gained and lost 75 pounds on purpose. And what I try to do is bring the lessons I learned from that into each and every episode. And we feel like we have a different, unique approach to health and fitness because of my Fit to Fat to Fit experience and because of Lynn's experience as well.
Well, and I just hope to inspire women. You know, I'm a mom of two, a business owner, and definitely a foodie. So I love food. I'm not the same type of crazed exercise fanatic as you see in the industry. So I just hope to bring a good balance showing how to love yourself, become healthier, and reach towards your goals, even with all that we have going in our lives.
Yeah, and we feel like this unique duo is what makes us different than other health and fitness podcasts. So we hope you enjoy all of our podcasts, and we hope you really enjoy this one with Jazzy Things. In today's episode, we cover certain topics such as how she creates inspiration for her amazing recipes. I mean, she has so many delicious recipes. We talk about where her inspiration comes from. We also talk about why she quit her job as an HR person, with a master's degree to do Jazzy Things, on social media full time.
She gives a lot of great tips on making healthy food taste good. And that's such a huge thing for me because nutrition is the most important component when trying to become healthier, to lose weight. And a lot of times it's the part that's looked past because people love food and they're not really willing to give up that good food to reach their goals. Jazzy explains how to make healthy food taste better, how to save money, how to meal prep but still add variety. Things that I get asked all the time about health and nutrition is in this episode.
Yep. And we really think you guys are going to enjoy today's episode. But first, today's episode, before we dive into it, today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Quest Nutrition. We've been friends with these guys for years, as you guys know. And the most important thing that we like about Quest is they make getting your, healthy protein in convenient. So most of our protein does come from, animal sources, meat, seafood, eggs, fish, those kinds of things is where most of our protein comes. But when we're traveling on the go, we love the convenience of a Quest bar, and it tastes delicious. Pumpkin pie protein, their pumpkin pie flavor is one of my new favorites.
It's really good. Cookie dough is my favorite, but I like that it adds variety. A lot of times my clients ask me, what can I do to curb my sweet tooth or to get something that tastes sweetened but it's not going to affect, my macronutrient split for the day or whatnot. And I always push them towards Quest Nutrition. I said, hey, it's great. It's low net carbs, high in protein. It's convenient. It has a variety of flavors. And they also have amazing protein chips and powders. So check them out. You guys, we have a direct link to their website in the show notes. So check them out.
Yep. And our next sponsor is dollarworkoutclub.com. Now, Dollar Workout Club, in a nutshell, is you pay $1 a week and you get access to 5 at-home workout videos that are between 10 to 20 minutes long. You get access to 5 new healthy recipe videos each week and 5 motivational videos, all for just $1 per week at dollarworkoutclub.com.
Yep, and there's no contracts, no hidden fees, literally just $1 a week, so check it out.
Yeah, we hope you guys enjoy that. But for now, let's jump into today's episode with Jasmine. All right, Jasmine, thank you so much for joining us today on the Fit to Fat to Fit Experience podcast. It's an honor to have you on with us.
Hey, glad to be here.
Now, is it Jasmine, Jazzy Things, Yasmin? How do you prefer?
My birth is not Jazzy Things. It is Jasmine.
Okay.
My dad used to always call me Jumpin' Jazzy Jasmo, so I don't know if that's how Jazzy evolved.
I like
Once I started Jazzy Things, all my friends started to say, "Oh yeah, I always called you Jazzy." So I now go by Jasmine, Jazzy, whatever anyone prefers to call me.
I like Jumping Jazzy Jasmo.
That's awesome.
I'm going to start calling you that.
All right.
Jumping Jazzy Jasmo. Yeah, seriously, I think you should change your social media handles to that.
Jumpin' Jazzy Jasma.
That is so cool. That is awesome. I wish I had a cool
That's
name
okay.
like that.
I mean, at least it's like pretty much your name. People sometimes call me, too fit at home. I'm like, yeah, my name's Lynn, but okay. Okay.
Now, so to start things off, Jazzy, I kind of I was wondering this as I knew we were going to interview today. Let's say you're at a party and there's some cool people there. You're talking to them.
A party. Okay.
Yeah, like you're at a party. What's up? What's your name? Oh, I'm Jasmine, Jazzy things. When someone asks you, just casually, what do you do? How do you answer that question?
That's funny you ask that. It's a very difficult question to answer. I would say it depends on the type of party I'm at.
Okay.
My responses range from, well, I bake.
Okay.
Sometimes it kind of goes down the realm of explaining, being on social media. I talk about how I guess I could say I'm a cookbook author. Gosh, it's really hard for me to answer. It usually dives into I create a lot of recipes. They've developed into cookbooks, and I have a social media presence where I'm able to share these recipes and creating new recipes and creating content for my cookbooks, as well as holding workshops around the nation. That's all facilitated via social media. So maintaining my social media and continuously sharing content. That's usually how I answer what I do.
And people are probably like, and you make money doing that? Oh, okay. That's whatever I get if I'm like, I do fitness stuff online and, social media is a big part of it. And people always go, and you make money like that?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I just do it for fun. Yeah.
Well, it's been a big shift, social media, and it's been really, really interesting, even over the past couple of years, seeing, I guess you could say, the power of social media and how it really is a great way to connect with others that are like-minded and, again, share that content, share things I feel that are valuable that others hopefully find valuable too, and using that and leveraging it as a business. It's been a lot to learn, but it's been really neat to be able to connect with others that way.
Yeah, I love that.
It is unique. And that's interesting because, I was thinking about this myself. Like when people ask, well, what do you do? I answer it one of two ways, similar to you. If I just try and keep it short, I'm like, oh yeah, I work in the fitness industry, or I'm a health coach or, whatever, just to keep it short. But if people are like, oh, so like, what exactly do you do? I'm like, well, I got fat on purpose. I gained 75 pounds, and then I lost it and document it on a website. And now that's what I do full time now, is just kind of answer people's questions and provide content and inspire people in a weird sort of way. I mean, that's basically what I do in a nutshell, is I inspire people in a weird, backward sort of way. And I know it doesn't make any sense, but...
Yeah, so for those that don't know who you are, Jazzy, why don't you give us like a really brief background about like your personal health and fitness journey? Like, where did you come from? How did you get where you're at now?
Yeah, so it's interesting how it all evolved because it was very organic and something I never expected. I have my master's degree in human resources. My bachelor's is in human resources as well. So that was kind of my thing. I was the HR lady through and through, and it's something I was very passionate about. So I used to have a career in human resources working for Nestle USA. I worked at a Dreyer's ice cream factory.
No, I love it.
Daily ice cream. Yes, indeed. So
wait, real quick. Did you really get free ice cream every day?
Yes, I did.
Oh my gosh, that's like a dream job.
Every employee was required to go through what's called sensory, which is not only looking at the ice cream to ensure it meets certain criteria, but tasting it as well.
Oh my gosh,
that's a hard job. Wow.
It's so hard, yeah.
Okay, sorry, keep going. So you're HR.
Okay, so I worked in human resources for Nestle, Dreyer's. It was an amazing career for me. I was traveling the nation with Nestle and learning things and doing HR things. So while I was with Nestle, I did not work out whatsoever. I had worked out in high school playing sports, but it was kind of just a typical high school athlete. My nutrition was completely absent, and it was just a way to be involved. So I'm at Nestle, went through college completely lazy, partied, and then I actually got a group onto a local gym. And I don't necessarily recall exactly what prompted it, other than I knew I was lazy and that I needed to do something. So I thought, okay, cool, like a coupon. So I'm at Nestle. I go to this local gym, and I actually fell in love with it. It was functional type group style training, and I started going every day. And I was telling my parents about it, and I said, yeah, I'm going to this gym. I'm doing things. I'm being active. And they said, well, what about your nutrition? And I kind of call this the potato story. I told them, I said, well, I've been eating a lot of potatoes. And they're like, potatoes? And I'm like, yeah, they're healthy. And, one day I have potatoes with ranch. The next day it's potatoes with Caesar. And I couldn't wait to make my next potato creation. And they said, well, maybe you should learn about proper nutrition. And I was like, no, I love food way too much. But as I continued to go to this gym and just fall in love with it, I thought, okay, let me explore. So I saw on Instagram that there was this community of people who would post healthy recipes. And it was a fitness community. They would post progress pictures, recipes, and I was like, I want to do that. So I said, and I'm still at Nestle at this time, and I said, well, I love food so much that I'm not going to sacrifice my love for food. So I just started to get creative and never had cooked before, aside from college. Typical college eating. I mean, top ramen, hamburger helper,
pizza.
Yeah. Exactly. So I would choose my favorite foods and then find ways to make them healthy, whether it was just healthier ingredient swaps or learning portion sizes. And I started to post these on an Instagram, which was Jazzy Things. And I was also sharing my progress at the time because once I switched over to eating properly and just being conscious of it, I mean, I amazed myself with the results. So I was sharing that progress still at Nestle. And after a couple months, I had quite a big bank of recipes. And you said briefly share my story. This isn't very brief.
No, I like this. No.
So still at Nestle, started creating recipes just of my favorite foods, learning about nutrition, learning about different ingredients. And I had a friend who had said, you should put all these in a cookbook. And I'm like, I'm the HR lady. I'm not making any cookbooks. But she suggested an ebook. And it's something just so simple and so basic. And I was like, okay, why not? So I ended up finding a really great designer just through Instagram, and she helped me create just a very simple PDF and a website. I never did think I'd have a website. So we created jazzythings.com. It had my one sole ebook, and I shared it on Instagram. And my Instagram had grown a decent amount at this time because I contributed to the fact that I had recipes and they're replicable. I mean, people can recreate them, tag me, show their friends. So
and they're good. And you actually post good recipes. A lot of times healthy food looks boring or bland and yours are flavorful. So people are like, wow, nice. I'd actually eat that. Yeah.
And that stems a lot too from my love of food and just how basic I always had been with cooking, where I said, if I'm making this transition, it is not going to be complicated, because if it's complicated for others, it's complicated for me, and I'm not having it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I shared about this little ebook I had created, just a simple PDF with recipes and pictures, and it did very well. But even more so than how, I guess, well it did, it proved to me that this is what I wanted to be doing. Every day at Nestle, all I could think about was the next recipe I wanted to create to share, just because I genuinely loved and love seeing people recreate them and implement into their lives. So I released my ebook, realized how passionate I was for creating recipes, and I quit my job. It took me about a weekend to decide, and I had no idea what I was going to do. I said, I'll ensure I can literally survive on the bare necessities for about 3 months. And otherwise, I'm going to figure it out.
Oh my God.
What did people say to you when you're like, I'm quitting my job to produce ebooks and bake? Like, were people like, did you have support? Were people like, I don't think this is the safe route? I'm just interested in how people reacted to that.
I absolutely had support, but everyone said I was crazy. And I guess I say I had support in the sense that I think people understood I was going to do what I wanted to do. It's kind of how I've been. If I put my mind to something, then I'm achieving it. So I say I'm quitting my job, and I'm quitting my job. But yeah, they thought I was absolutely crazy. I think because especially nowadays, it's really easy to attach ourselves to feelings of security and feelings of comfort. And I was very comfortable at Nestle, but that's what the problem was for me is I was comfortable and I didn't realize there's this whole realm of opportunity to explore my passions. So I think my ability to try and express how passionate I was, others started to see kind of, well, this adds meaning to my life and I'm trying to add value to others. And that's kind of where it originated. But oh yeah, I mean, they absolutely thought I was crazy. So I kind of just went for it.
Well, it's just untraditional. People think it's crazy when you do anything that's untraditional, like you said. You know, it's so easy to get a 9-to-5 job and to have that security. And I'm not knocking it. I've done it. I did it from the time I was 14 years old until, just like 4 years ago. So yeah. But it's true. Like, even now, sometimes I'm like, wow, I can't believe I left the security of, benefits and a 9-to-5 job. Like it's scary, but there's nothing that beats doing what you're passionate about. Nothing.
Exactly.
So true. I can totally relate to that because when I did Fit to Fat to Fit, a lot of people don't know this, but I was working full-time in the medical field and I was a part-time personal trainer. But I knew that I was passionate about health and fitness. And, when Fit to Fat to Fit took off, which I was not expecting it to, kind of similar to you, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to try this idea out and see how it goes. And, maybe the local news will pick me up or something like that. Like I'll be on the local news. And then before you know it, like I'm on like Jay Leno and like all these thousands of people are like having me on their, following me and having me on these TV shows. And I'm like, wow, like this is crazy. And so I kind of sat down with Lynn and we decided, let's bite the bullet and take this risk of quitting our jobs. Lynn had a full-time job as well, working 9-to-5, and we decided to quit and do Fit to Fat to Fit full-time. And yeah, a lot of people looked at it as like, man, you're crazy. Like, like why would you leave that security? But I think ultimately looking back on your life, you're never going to regret doing something that you're passionate about, especially if you give it your all and you really try. So what year was this that you decided to leave the corporate world and start Jazzy Things full-time?
So that's actually it's been 2 years now.
Okay.
Which is crazy to think. And from the moment I quit until now, I literally just tell myself I'm not allowing myself to fail. And, fail is used loosely because I've made a lot of mistakes. I've definitely spent a lot of time learning and trying to meander my way through owning a business and leaving my job. But I essentially said I will never allow my creativity to dissipate or stop finding ways to contribute value and essentially help inspire others. So
I love that. Yeah,
that's awesome. And most businesses fail in the first year, and here you are 2 years plus, and it's amazing to see how social media can be a viable business, for a lot of people these days. Where most people think, well, how do you make money on social media? It can be done. Look at Jazzy Things.
Yeah, and you know what? Like how I found you too was because of your recipes. People often share your recipes. And I was drawn to it because I am such a foodie, and I sometimes in this industry when I see like the same meal prep chicken and broccoli, I just throw up a little bit in my mouth. Not because I don't eat chicken and broccoli, just because I feel like eating healthy can be unique and flavorful and you can try different things and we don't have to fit into this box. And it's funny, one of the questions I was going to ask you is if you've always just been so talented in the kitchen, which you answered saying you really weren't that big into cooking. So how do you come up with these recipes?
So it really depends. Sometimes I say, I let my taste buds do the talking. I will shout from the rooftops that I believe if someone has a favorite food, they can find a way to recreate it, even if it's just, like I said, swapping a couple ingredients or focusing on portion sizes. I feel it is possible to create any favorite food into a healthier version. So potentially seeing an ingredient in the grocery store is some way that I'm inspired. Or if I want pizza, then I'm going to think, okay, let's have pizza tonight. Let's find a way to make the crust healthier or use different kinds of cheeses, less toppings, whatever it may be. So I let my taste buds do the talking. I also like to get inspired by a particular ingredient. Even if I'm just in the grocery store and I see a lemon, I think, okay, what can I make with a lemon? And then kind of let it evolve from there. What else I also do is I'm a sales shopper. So if I see something on sale in the grocery store, I'll let that prompt me because it kind of helps me step out of my comfort zone and not grab the same ingredients all the time. So that's actually one tip I give to people is a lot of times people say, well, veggies, I don't like to eat veggies. I say, go look at what veggies are on sale. Here I go to Ralph's. So go to your local grocery store, see what veggies are on sale. Google recipes because they are there, and there you go. Now you can get a new veggie.
Well, and it's so smart too
Yeah.
because like one of the top questions we always get is how can you make eating healthy more affordable? Because everyone has this, perception that eating healthy is just too expensive. But a great way is like what you said: go into the store, see what's on sale, what fruits and vegetables are on sale, and tailor your food around that if you're really on a tight budget.
Yes, absolutely. And one of my biggest tips across the board for everything, whether it's creativity, whether it's making things affordable, is to keep it simple. So it doesn't have to be complicated to eat healthy, nor does it have to be complicated to get creative. You can use very minimal ingredients, and that's what I try to reflect with my recipes and my cookbooks. They're just basic, simple ingredients, but it's different ways to combine different flavors. It's different things to create. You are eating oats in the morning. Well, you can turn your oats into pancakes with the same ingredients. So just different variations. You keep it simple, and it can absolutely be affordable.
Yeah, it's so
That's
smart.
awesome. No, that's a very good tip. Keeping it simple is a very good tip that I tell people about. So I'm just like scrolling through your Instagram right now because I love your social media, for example. Just for the listeners out there, here's just a few of the recipes that pop up on her Instagram feed that are just like, they look so good. And it just blows me away that you come up with these things. Pecan pie bars, coconut vanilla cupcakes, blueberry protein bread,
Oh my gosh. Now I'm
peanut butter
hungry.
protein cookies, triple chocolate, fudge protein brownies. They look so good and they sound so exotic and amazing. But for the listeners out there, you make these recipes simple. Like you don't have to go to Whole Foods and find some weird ingredient. Is that right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Again, that's the one thing I really, really strive to do is just simple, basic ingredients. It's just combining flavors others may not think of.
Yeah, I know. They look so good. So for those of you out there that are listening, go follow Jazzy Things on Instagram and be inspired.
Yeah, we'll put all of her handles and everything at the end of the show notes.
Exactly. So I want to talk to you about meal prep, Jazzy. Obviously everyone knows that meal prep is probably the most important thing to maintain a healthy lifestyle. And we even talked about this with Bruce Pitcher from Extreme Weight Loss. One of the things that he's done to maintain his 200-pound weight loss for over 2 years now since being on the show is meal prep being essential. For you, that for people working full-time that have kids, for example, how do you teach them, or I'm assuming people ask you this question, how do you teach them to meal prep, and then how to have variety with meal prepping? What's like your top tips for adding variety? So it's not just chicken and broccoli like Lynn was saying. What are some of your tips for helping people add variety to their meal prep?
Yeah, and that's a great topic because I think a lot of people start to feel overwhelmed with meal prep. And especially with social media, it's out there a lot, especially with meal prep companies, meal prep. And I think people just don't really know where to start. So the number one tip, of course, is keep it simple. But what I like to share and what works really well for me, even if someone is busy, even if they have kids, even if they think they don't have time, it also takes time to go out to eat. It also takes time to wait in fast food lines. So putting those excuses aside and making time and making it a priority, what I like to do is actually prepare my foods, not bland, but very, very simple. For example, cooking chicken just with garlic powder or steak just with some pepper. Creating my meats to be very neutral, along with my other foods like potatoes with a little bit of salt. I create my staples and then I have them on hand in my refrigerator. And then when I want to assemble meals or I'm ready to eat, that's when I can add the flavor because everything is already prepped. It's easy to go. It's not too much flavor yet, and you can create it to however you want it. So 2 ways to do that. One, I do have 6 cookbooks that I've done all the work for people in creating those meals flavorful. The second thing, though, is adding seasonings. I think people greatly underestimate spices and seasonings because you can create so many different combinations. For example, you have your plain chicken, as I just talked about, and you have some noodles that you prepared. You can make an Italian dish simply by adding some oregano or some thyme and garlic powder, and now you have Italian flavors. So spices and seasonings, stock those cupboards up because it makes a huge difference. And even on veggies, people have in their head, oh, meal prep, plain chicken, plain broccoli. Throw in some spices and even certain things like now sauces. I think a lot of people fear you don't need ranch dressing like I had on my potatoes. But there's a lot of simple things you can do to add sauces to salads, like vinegars, Greek yogurts for some dressing ideas. Again, with those spices and seasonings, adding your Italian or your Asian type flavors. So those are my main tips. Keep it simple in the sense of I prep the minimums. What am I going to need throughout the next 5 days? And I'm throwing in a plug, but only because I've compiled my meal prep or my travel tips into a healthy travel guide, which do just that. They outline the simplest and most efficient way I prep my meals. That's in my healthy travel guide. And that's exactly what it says is prepare them with simple seasonings and then grab them as you need them. And then throughout the week for your meal prep, they can be flavorful. Absolutely.
Yeah. What are your top 10 most used seasonings that you use that you say are most common in your recipes? Yeah, top 5, top 10.
Top 5. Garlic powder.
Okay.
Black pepper. Especially you'll see on like Food Network and everything you see, they say, especially red meats, don't overdo it. Just put on some salt and pepper. Okay, so anyway, garlic powder, black pepper. I love cumin. Cumin is a very distinct spice. That's what you smell like at a Mexican restaurant if you're smelling like their taco. A very prominent spice in taco seasoning. I like cumin. I also really like rosemary, some dried rosemary. I love spices. What would be my 5th one? There's probably 20. I mean, onion powder is very basic, but I don't want to single out that one. I really like Tarragon. Tarragon's a good one too.
I don't know if I've ever used Tarragon.
I don't think I have either, but I will now.
I was going to say, I'm going out shopping.
And I actually, the first time I used it was fresh. Oh my gosh, fresh Tarragon. Oh. So the spices I talked about, I do use them dried so then you can have them on hand and there's no excuse if it's going to go bad. But if you also throw in the fresh herbs of those as well, delicious.
Yeah. And I love that tip too, because that's one of the things that I learned early on because like Jazzy, like I love food. And a big thing for me when people are like, you should focus on eating healthier. And I didn't eat very healthy growing up or even in my early 20s was because I love food so much. And I'm like, I can't eat boring food. I just can't do it. And I used to put sauces on everything to spice things up. And then I learned about spices. And I learned that, instead of having sauces, which not all sauces obviously are bad, but a lot of sauces are so chock full of a ton of different other things that you don't need, plus sugar. A lot of sauces have a lot of sugar in them. Seasonings are like a great way to add a lot of variety and a lot of flavor and help you stick to eating healthier, avoiding that extra sugar and stuff in sauces. So I love that.
Absolutely. And I do have to say, I can vouch for you guys. I know that both of you can cook. I have seen
We can cook. I mostly like to bake, but
not as good as you yet.
Not as good as Jazzy. I mean,
I'm gonna start using Tarragon on everything.
I'm just gonna share all of Jazzy's recipes. I'll be like, cook this instead. So one of the other things that I really love about you that I wanted to talk about is, it's kind of like what you talked about. When you want to do something, people just know in your personality, you have a goal, you want to do something, you just do it. But that's not everyone's mentality. Like most people really struggle with being positive and motivated. And I feel like following your social media, like I love following your Snapchat. You are always so positive and motivating. What are some of the tips that you give to your followers or friends or whatnot in staying motivated to reach their health and fitness goals?
Yeah. So first of all, I want to say it's taken practice. I think especially through grad school, it was a very, very stressful time for me. And I've been positive throughout my whole life and always seeking to find the positivity in every day. But like I said, it's taken practice. And I think what has really helped me in the bigger picture is what I do daily. So I think a lot of people, again, kind of become overwhelmed or bogged down or feel unmotivated when they think about a really big picture or a really big goal. So for me, really fine tuning and focusing on what I can do each day or even each moment has been really beneficial. One thing that's very, very important to me that is just so simple, I actually made a post about it today, but it's my morning routine where I make it a priority to eat breakfast outside
I love
every single day. Now, saying that's what keeps me motivated and positive, I genuinely feel that it does. That simple thing that I do every single morning allows me to just kind of focus, be outside, watch the sunrise, eat my favorite breakfast, and just not be bogged down with the worries and the stresses of the day, thinking about my 1-year goal or whatever it may be. I don't do that in that moment. So really kind of centering myself and starting my day out with breakfast outside has really done wonders for my positivity and my motivation. I think I've been doing that. I've been doing that for over a year. So it's little routines like that I'll do throughout my day that I think have made a really big difference, and whatever the routine may be for someone.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's actually what I was going to ask you about is what is your daily routine? And first of all, I love that, wait, you're 27, right? 26, 25?
27, yeah.
Okay, 27. You're the only 20-year-old I know that goes to bed at 8:30-ish, right? And wakes up at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, I was going to say, it gets up early. I'm like, wow, it's
That's
like she's in her 30s like us, but she's not.
But she's not. And she has no kids. It's so funny because, here we have 2 kids, but we're tired by 8:30 and we're just exhausted. But most not single people, because you're not single, you have a boyfriend. But most people your age are out partying,
right.
And they're staying up till midnight or whatever. You're like the only person I know that does that, which is awesome, and I totally respect it. And I love seeing your Snapchats, for example, that you are outside eating breakfast every single day. What are some other daily routines that you implement that help you? Stay motivated or just help you in general. Because I think a lot of these daily routine things are just therapeutic, right? Whether
Absolutely.
you eat outside or not, it's not like you're going to gain 5 pounds because you didn't, eat outside today or something like that. Or you're not going to work out for a week because you lost that motivation.
I feel like because I follow Jazzy on Snapchat, I can almost tell you her
My day?
daily routine. I should try it and be like, okay, so, and then Jazzy can just correct me like, no, that's not.
We need a cat. We need a cat like hers.
I know. It's like I
Kingston,
could talk about her
and then we could
cat
totally
and her
follow
breakfast
daily
and her
routine.
walking to the gym and her reading her books. But no. You tell us. Walk us
what are
through
some
a
other
day.
typical day?
What is my day? Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll kind of go through my day, and then my routines kind of evolve from that.
Cool.
And it does depend on what I'm doing. I do travel frequently. However, I'm taking a little bit of travel time off the end of this year. So my days are, of course, very different if I'm traveling for a workshop. So we'll talk
Sure.
about a current day and if I'm home and what I'm doing. So I wake up very early. I would say it's because of my cat, my hairless cat. He does wake me up. Saying let your passion wake you up and be the driver for your day, absolutely true. I mean, I am up around 5 a.m. every day because I'm genuinely super excited for the day. I can't wait to go. I did not wake up that early when I was in the corporate world. So anyway, so I wake up very early. I actually wake up slowly. I kind of read the news, get on social media, hang out with my cat, and then I make my very favorite breakfast, and whatever it may be, it has peanut butter, that's for sure. And I eat outside. So there's my first routine. Also, the favorite breakfast part is an additional routine. And I, in workshops, have shared that with people. Implement your favorite breakfast. It makes a huge difference. And it sounds petty, but if you're on the go, you're rushing for work, you hurry and grab a yogurt and a fruit. What if you take a few extra minutes and create your favorite breakfast, whatever it may be? I'm driven by food though, but I really feel like implementing our favorites. If you can implement your favorite things just in little pieces, even if it's your favorite gum, go get your favorite gum because you're going to be happy when you chew it throughout the day.
I love that. Man, I love that. So true.
Literally, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how awesome it is to have your favorite gum?
Yeah.
So I eat my breakfast outside, and I spend a little bit of time outside, again, just kind of getting energized for the day, kind of recharging, watching the sunrise. And then I go inside, and I'm ready to conquer the day. I spend a lot of time on my computer, responding to emails, if I have any upcoming workshops, placing orders, also brainstorming what recipes I'm going to create. And then I plan out some recipes and things I'm going to be doing in the kitchen, go to the grocery store if I need to. I frequent the grocery store, but I like it. It's kind of therapeutic for me to be there and get inspired by new ideas. And then early afternoon, late morning is when I'm in the kitchen. And I'm in the kitchen creating away whatever my taste buds spoke to me for that day. Again, just creating content, posting to Instagram the recipes, and trying to get input from Instagram, seeing what they might want, what season is it, like baking with pumpkin.
Yep.
So I'm in the kitchen, and then another part of my routine that's important to me is my gym time, and I go to the gym in the afternoon. Again, that's part of my me time, and aside from work and recipes and being in the kitchen and hosting workshops, being on emails, that is my time where I can focus on personal goals aside from business goals and being on social media. So,
any particular reason you work out in the afternoon versus the morning?
Yeah, that's just what works for me.
Okay.
I feel like I have a little more energy. I have a little bit more meals in me. Some people do really well in the morning. Some do noon. I'm not too tired, since I go to bed at like 8 o'clock. I'm not too tired by the evening. In the morning, I'm very, very productive. So I like to utilize that time and be able to hone in more on my recipes. So I've just found that it works well, and I'm energized, and it's also a good time for me to kind of step away from social media as well. Since I've been on it for the first half of the day, now I can say, okay, kind of detach and now focus on you, and then you're back to it.
Gotcha. So. No, thanks for answering that. And then as far as your night routine?
Yeah, so
night routines?
I like to be very, very productive in the mornings and throughout the day, because my nighttime is kind of my unwind time. It's allotting some personal time, hanging out with my boyfriend, hanging out with my cat, watching a little bit of TV, or kind of talking through my day that day. What did I accomplish today? What can I do better tomorrow? Whatever it may be, just kind of winding down, because by that time it's almost bedtime. Make some dinner, get ready for bed, and then start all over.
And a lot of times you read. I love seeing that, by the way. Because actually, you've read several, like a lot of times when you're showing the book you're reading, I'm like, hey, I've read that book, or hey, that's on my list. So I love that. I love that you enjoy reading as much as I do. So
to Drew's question about the actual routines, I'm really glad you mentioned that, Lynn. I noticed that you like to read as well. But reading is very important to me for a lot of reasons. Even if it's amongst my very busy day, I'll take 10, 15 minutes, stop what you're doing, sit down, read a book, now go again. And not only am I enjoying what I'm reading, but again, it just takes time. It allows me to take time to kind of sit down and refocus, which is so important for me in so many ways. Sitting outside, reading my book, going to the gym. And I think people undervalue those things. And that's one thing I learned stepping away from the stresses of my life, we can separate ourselves from things that cause major stress. A lot of times it's even just habits. We have a habit of doing things that stress us out. So if you allow yourself even 5 minutes in the morning, just 5 minutes to read a couple pages in a book, for me, that has been so beneficial in setting my day up for success and just feeling motivated and ready for my day.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I love that.
and I think, daily routines are important for a lot of people to, that's how you start creating healthy habits. It's not all or nothing all at once, going from an unhealthy lifestyle to a healthy lifestyle. It's implementing small daily routines, even something as small as like, okay, I'm going to make my bed today, and just do that consistently for 30 days straight and see how that, changes your life. It might not be life-changing, but it might just start pointing you in the right direction. Or, hey, I'm going to eat my breakfast outside for the next 30 days, and see how that changes me for the better. Those kinds of things I think are essential. And I've kind of over the past, few years, ever since I've been in the fitness industry, I try and always like upgrade my daily routines. Like, okay, I'm going to start trying this, or try that. Like daily meditation, I've started doing as well, and I really, really enjoy that. Even though I used to think it was really weird, I'm like, what's that going to do for me? I'm just going to like sit there and try not to think for 10 minutes. Like, that's weird. But there's so many benefits to it. I can't, like, when I don't do it, I definitely notice a difference. And so I just think it's important for people to try out new things, try and find what works for you, and start implementing them on a daily basis and be consistent. Because I think that's the key to maintaining a healthy lifestyle, is just consistency and being persistent in these types of small changes. So thank you for outlining that, so we know what you do, and I think someone out there is going to start implementing some of these on a daily basis and see how it impacts their lives. So the other thing I kind of wanted to ask you is about your exercise routines. Like, what do you do for exercise these days, and what have you done in the past? Because you've done fitness competitions in the past, but am I right in assuming that you're kind of stepping away from that based on your social media posts?
I am for now. So it kind of goes back to the crazy Jasmine setting goals and just going for it.
So what do you do now for exercise, or what are you into as far as exercise goes right now?
So now I'm actually pursuing powerlifting. My boyfriend was a huge inspiration to me to pursue this and do a competition after I watched him at his. So it'd been on my mind before, but just seeing the energy of everything and seeing everyone have goals just to get really strong and learn new things, that was awesome. So that's what I'm currently pursuing. I had mentioned when I very first started working out, when I was still at Nestle, I started with functional group style training. I think that was really helpful because I was in an environment that was very positive and encouraging, where others were as well. So it almost had a sense of accountability for me to go to these group classes. And it was from that I had found or learned about bodybuilding competitions on social media. And I had said, well, I'm working out. Let me try it. So I've done 4 bodybuilding competitions. I went into them a lot of people say this is for me, but it genuinely was. I didn't have big aspirations of turning into professional or anything. It was something for me to commit to and dedicate to. And that's exactly what it was. It was 4 times in my life where I was extremely committed and dedicated, and I was on stage in that suit and high heels, and that was a huge accomplishment for me. So I placed top 5 in my past few competitions, which was cool and fun. And then I discovered powerlifting and realized there's another way I can achieve goals and learn new things. So that's what my training is now, is structured around powerlifting. So that's in the afternoons. And then a couple times a week, I'm actually going to another gym where I do functional type training still. And that's just a personal goal. I want to remain functional and keep my endurance at a good place too. So.
I think that's awesome. And it's actually really inspiring because, a lot of women are like, oh, does that mean she's going to get big and bulky now from powerlifting? I think a lot of women are afraid of that, thinking, oh man, she's going to be one of those big women looking bodybuilders, from powerlifting, but that's not the case. Like, right. To be strong is a good thing for women, and doesn't mean you're going to get big and bulky, right? Doesn't mean you're going to turn into a dude.
No, unless you take specific supplements like testosterone or steroids, like designed to help you put on that type of mass. It's very difficult for women to put on large amounts of mass. Women that do it naturally, it takes so much time, dedication, calories. Like, they are heavily working at trying to put on mass.
Even for guys, we tell people, like, for guys, it's hard enough as it is to put on mass. For girls, it's like even harder. So it shouldn't be one of your worries when you start, lifting heavy things. But it's cool to lift something heavy, as a person, as a human being, and say, I did that. I just deadlifted 500 pounds. That's awesome. So respect to you, Jazzy. That's awesome, and keep us posted. Yeah, keep us posted on that. And I think it's always good to switch up your exercise routine and go for a new goal. Like for me, I just discovered that I suck at swimming. I am not Michael Phelps, and my 6-year-old daughter laughs at me as correcting my form. And Lynn
she really is better. My 6-year-old daughter.
And Lynn over here is like laughing at me, like, "Man, you are horrible."
No. Let's clarify. Okay. It's not that I was laughing at you because you are a poor swimmer.
She was laughing with me.
No, I was laughing at you because you insinuated that in order to be able to do proper strokes that people are professional swimmers. And I laughed because I'm not a professional swimmer, but yes, I do know how to do proper strokes in a pool. But he's learning.
So Drew, you're swimming now more, Drew?
Yes, that's what I'm saying is like I'm starting to go every day, and even though I suck and I've been posting about it on social media, it's something I want to get good at so that, hey, if I am in the middle of the ocean, I'm not going to drown, And it's just cool for me to be able to say, look, I can swim X amount of meters without drowning.
He's secretly training for a triathlon.
I'm secretly training. Well, it's not a secret anymore. No, but so that's the thing is like find something you suck at and just try to be consistent at it and see how you improve. And if you still suck at it after a year, then, say you gave it a try. Like for me, I tell people, and this is kind of humbling, it took me a year and a half to learn how to do double unders consistently. Double unders on the jump rope where you're doing 2 repetitions with 1 jump. And here I am, this athlete, this fitness professional, if you will. I'm doing my quotation marks, which you can't see here on the podcast. And it takes me a year and a half to learn how to do double unders. Like, just, keep trying, and try new things and set new goals. Because you get burnt out sometimes doing the same thing over and over again, right? Doing bodybuilding competitions is cool, but sometimes you get burnt out doing those things. And so you're, an inspiration to a lot of people, Jazzy. And I think it's cool that you show people what your goals are and how you're attaining them, so people can be like, okay, maybe that's something I want to try. And that's what I'm trying to do with swimming.
That's
as
awesome.
well.
And I love that. I have to reiterate, I love where you said if you suck at something, then do it. And there's a lot of power in that. And I want to encourage that as well. If you feel like you're in a rut or kind of hit a plateau, try something new. I actually made a New Year's resolution, I think it was last year, where every week of the month of January, I was going to try something new fitness related. So I did boxing. I did, like that bar. What is that?
Yeah, the bar class, yeah.
I only did that once, I'll say that. But even boxing, I didn't know how to do it. I felt like I looked like a fool, but who cares? You just go and you try it, and I guarantee there will be something that you'll be like, you know what? This is kind of cool. I'm going to go again. Like Drew's doing with swimming.
Yeah.
So definitely try something new for sure.
Yeah. And don't worry about it if you suck. Like, yeah, you look stupid, but everybody looks stupid their first time trying something out. Like, and
I can just tell, I've been to enough classes in my lifetime to let you know, I used to be super nervous about it too, especially because I was like, oh, I'm not very coordinated. I look dumb. Nobody's really looking at you. Everyone's focusing on when people are Zumbaing, right. They're looking at themselves being like, wow, my moves are really special right now. No one is taking the time to look at you. So yeah, try new things. Don't worry about what other people think. Just get in your zone. And yeah, there's a lot of confidence that can be built by trying something that you don't think you're good at or that maybe you aren't good at and improving from there. So
well, and just real quick, but sucking at something should be a motivator or a driver, like powerlifting, for example. I'm not powerlifting because I'm really, really strong right now. I'm powerlifting because I'm not very strong. And that means every single ounce of effort I'm putting in the gym is a step towards improvement. So if you do something you suck at, then just know that every time you do it, you're improving in some way because you suck really bad.
Woo-hoo!
So you can only get better.
I love that. Okay. So we're gonna wrap up with my favorite part of the show, which we like to call the lightning round.
Yep, and we have some good ones for you.
This is where, for those that don't know the lightning round, this is where we ask Jazzy random questions that really don't necessarily have any rhyme or reason, just stuff that we want to know. She is completely unprepared. She doesn't know what they're going to be. She has to answer them as quickly as possible, just the first thing that comes to her mind.
Oh.
All right, Jazzy, are you ready?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Weirdest combination that you've put with peanut butter?
Chicken
and peanut
dipped
butter.
in peanut butter? Is that how you ate it? Or
well, that evolved actually because for competition prep, when we get closer to show day, you start eliminating, some of the extras, and so you end up with chicken, rice, and peanut butter, for example. And what better way to
chicken, rice, and peanut butter?
But if you think about it, think about a peanut sauce, like an Asian peanut sauce. That's delicious on chicken. So
that's
it's
true.
Not too far.
Okay. Most embarrassing moment that you can think of.
Oh man. When I was in Australia, I quickly learned. Now I don't know if this is true. So this is just what I heard, but I quickly learned that the word fanny pack actually means tampon.
What?
Okay. I did not know that.
So
I did not know that.
I can't say that's the most embarrassing thing, but that's the first thing that popped into my head. I don't know why. But,
So like,
tampon jokes, people get embarrassed by tampon jokes. I don't really get embarrassed by things. So that's kind of hard for me to answer. But if you're going around like, hey, you have a fanny pack, or you see my fanny pack?
people are like, all right.
Maybe someone was just teasing me. I don't know.
Oh,
But
someone's gonna have to comment on the show and let us know. They'll be like, now
Yeah,
that
let
they'll be
us
like,
know,
they were
because-
just screwing with her.
Any Australian listeners, let us
They could
know.
have been like, this girl's gonna believe that fanny pack means tampon.
Stupid
So
Americans.
again, I don't really get embarrassed because I like to laugh at myself, and there's not much you can do to me where I'm not just gonna be like, oh, okay, cool, good one. But man, now I'm gonna think of something after the show. But okay, anyway,
Next question.
That's a funny one. Okay, worst food experiment gone bad, like at one of your seminars or teaching moments, or just
or like,
even
or
by yourself.
like how you like to pick something. You're like, I'm going to make up a recipe for this, and you're like,
And
this
it
sounds
totally
good, and then you tried it. You're
sucked.
like, this was the worst thing ever.
Oh, okay. So I was in a cooking class, and this was a private dinner party. So there are about 6 people. I had it all organized where everyone's in groups, and we're creating this awesome dinner. And I'm teaching them how healthy can be simple and delicious. Our main dish was a pasta dish. So we go to make the pasta, and I don't know if I can't even say I had a wrong temperature of water because you just boil it. I must have got maybe expired pasta. I don't know. We put that pasta in there, and it turned into a glob. It was almost as if, if you mix flour and water, it turns to glue. That's what happened with the pasta. So I'm at this dinner party with a main dish of pasta, and it's glue. We have a pot of glue. And that was the whole point. I was there.
And you're like, eating healthy
Did you just
is
roll
delicious.
with it? Were you like, this is totally how it's supposed to be?
like, sometimes things don't go as planned. And luckily, she actually had just some random pasta in the cupboard. We went with that. We still got to make the sauce, but trying to showcase this awesome pasta dish that turns into a big glob of glue. That was interesting.
I love that.
If you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would that food be?
Oh, okay. So I've answered this before, and my answer is going to be pancakes. Because I kind of cheat with the answer because I'm like, well, you could have savory pancakes, you could have sweet pancakes, but I feel as if I could never get tired of pancakes. Feed me pancakes anytime, I'll eat them.
Now, do you prefer protein pancakes or your typical like Bisquick, white flour type of pancakes, or what's your favorite pancake?
I'm actually a fan of protein pancakes because I feel when you add the protein, there's so many different varieties of flavors of protein that it changes the flavor of the pancakes. So instead of just Bisquick traditional, you can have chocolate protein pancakes or cookies and cream protein pancakes. So I like putting protein in my pancakes.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
I do have a protein pancake recipe in my cookbooks.
Yeah, I know. You got plenty of them, right? More than just one.
All right.
All right. If you could be any dude, who would you be and why?
Oh, I'd be The Rock.
Oh,
Yeah.
good answer.
That's a badass.
Yeah, right?
Even just following him on social media and what I've gathered from his personality, I mean, he just seems like a straight up down to earth badass.
That's so funny. I love him. Like, there are very few people that are like prominent like that as actors or even in the fitness world that I follow and really enjoy, and The Rock is one of them. Great answer.
Yeah, I agree.
Great answer, man. Okay, your favorite book or books that you've read recently?
Oh man, I've read a lot of books. I might have to single it down to just a genre because I really feel there's something valuable about any book, even what people will call a crappy book. So I actually love 2 different types of books. I'm not even answering this question, but I love books that I guess you could say talk about realities that people typically avoid. Like substance abuse books or mental health type books. I really enjoy reading those because
Like Brain on Fire?
I have read Brain on Fire.
Is that
and I
not good?
love Brain on Fire.
I know. Oh, that's a good one.
So I love reading stuff about that because it's very prominent.
Yeah.
And I think it's easy to avoid or not address. So I really enjoy reading books like that. And then I really like mystery books, the Lincoln Lawyer series.
Yeah.
I like many books.
Oh, man. I like those books too. Good answer. Okay, give us your best accent.
What's your most popular accent?
She does her accents
you do
on
really
Snapchat,
good
and they're funny.
accents. What's your favorite
What are you
one to
talking
do?
about?
Who is this?
It's hard for me to do an accent on the spot because then it evolves into different accents and it's enormous.
Now, was that a German or an Austrian accent? I couldn't tell. Which kind of accent was that?
I don't even know.
Or is that Russian? I can't tell.
I don't know when to stop them. They just happen.
You guys, her Snapchat is like the funniest snap. We are definitely putting her Snapchat in the notes.
Oh,
Well,
for sure.
sometimes I get an accent and I just go with it. And I can't stop sometimes. Oh.
You do a good job, and that's the funny thing is your snaps are probably the most entertaining snaps that like I follow. I don't follow that many people, but like your snaps are super entertaining. We'll actually all watch the whole 10 seconds of a snap, which is cool. Okay, so this is something I ask everybody on the show. Would you ever do Fit to Fat to Fit on purpose?
Oh, that's a good question. You know what? I would answer yes because
Whoa.
Wow.
well, mostly because if I commit to something, I'm doing it. But I feel, and Drew, I'm sure this is everything you learn, but what I've learned and how I've learned the most is by allowing my body and my mind to be vulnerable and picking something that I want to try and just going with it and seeing how my body responds. It hasn't been obviously as drastic or prominent or as structured as Fit to Fat to Fit. But what I've done in the past is, okay, I want to try this structure according to these goals. You just have to do it. And the body's going to change and it's going to morph, but you learn a lot. So if it were to do Fit to Fat to Fit, to kind of get the value that you received and all the learnings that you had along the way, I answered yes very quickly. I know there's a lot more to it. And I know that you again learned a lot about yourself and a lot about life through that, so I'm not undermining the experience by any means, but I do see a lot of value in putting ourselves in real applicable situations. So
That's awesome.
Just very quickly, but I do want to kind of preface that again with yes, because I see the value in what you went through. So
Cool. No, you're one of the very, very, very few people that's been on this podcast to say, yes, I would do it, because most people are scared to death of it, and to be overweight would freak them out and they would lose their identity. But at the end of the day, I did, when I did mine, I did kind of lose my identity, but I needed to in a way because I was so obsessed with this body, and I've, associated, I am this six pack. I am this low body fat percentage body. That's me. And when that was gone, I'm like, who am I? And so it was something I needed to go through. It's not something everybody needs to go through, but I do think it can have a lot of benefit. So I'll put your name down on the list, and we'll be in touch.
Do I have plans for it? Honestly, in grand scheme of things, if I don't know, I think there's a lot of value in, again, not just reading things, not just listening to or practicing what you see on Instagram, but truly living, breathing, and again, just kind of transforming that identity, which is just absolutely incredible. It's not to be undermined, that's for sure.
Well, thank you. Well, just wait until January, and there's going to be a big surprise for everybody in January. I can't say what it is, but it's gonna be worth it. I'll talk to you about it after we're done here, off the record.
Cool.
I can't talk about it yet, but
So tell everybody where they can find you, Jazzy. Tell them about where they can find your ebooks, your social media handles, your website.
Yeah, so my social media, again, is Jazzy Things, just JAZZY Things, THINGS. My website is also jazzythings.com, and that's where all of my cookbooks are housed. I have 6 healthy cookbooks, including a crock-pot cookbook, even a kid-approved cookbook. And I have a Twitter, but I'm not very active on it. My Twitter and my Snapchat, which I do use, are the same. It's Jazzy Things. And my Facebook, Jazzy Things. My last name is long, but Jazzy Things / Jasmine Schmalhouse. You'll find it just from Jazzy Things. My cat, I have a hairless cat. He has an Instagram. It's Kingston Things.
My kids freaking love the
Kingston,
cat.
yes, the hairless cat.
Kingston.
He's awesome. If I had to be one dude, it'd actually probably be The Rock or Kingston, because he's a badass too.
I love it.
That is so cool. Well, Jazzy, thank you so much for coming on the Fit to Fat to Fit Experience podcast. It's been so awesome to have you on, and for sure we'll have to have you back on again.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. This was fun. We got to talk about food.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see you next time, Jazzy.
Bye. Yeah.
All right, you guys, we hope you really, really enjoyed today's podcast. If you did, please leave us your comments or leave us a review on iTunes and let us know if you liked today's episode and what you liked about it. And also let us know what you'd like to see on the podcast in the future. You know, guests you'd like us to have on or topics you want us to cover. Any suggestions, we love reading your feedback. To learn more about us or to, stay in the know, check us out on social media. For me, all my handles are at fit to fat to fit with a number 2. Same thing for my website, fit2fat2fit.com, and I have a weekly newsletter that goes out every week. So you can follow me there.
I feel like I'm starving after that episode. I love talking to Jazzy about all the good food. So hopefully you're hungry too. You can find me at the number 2 Fit at Home on all social media outlets. My website is the number 2 fitathome.com. You can sign up for my newsletter on there as well.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and you can be sure that we will be back here next week with another amazing podcast. So thank you guys so much for your support. We really do appreciate you guys, because none of this would be possible without you listening. So thank you guys once again, and we'll see you back here next week.
See you guys.